everyone, it's me Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another weekly cross stitch update. It is Friday, March 24th and my last video was last Friday. My last update video was last Friday. I have had two other videos come out in between that were me switching a project from full cross over to tent stitch, so if you want to see that you can go check out those videos, and I will be showing the update for that project in this video too though. So I'm going to start off by showing my project that I have been trying to work on every day. That project is Kita, and Kita is from the Disney movie Atlantis, and she is charted by Pinky the Pink, and it's artwork from Hannah Alexander. And for each project I will be showing what they will look like finished over here, and I will also be showing where it was the last time you saw it. So here is Kita now. I ended up stitching here, which this was originally charted to be DMC metallic, and I didn't want to stitch the DMC metallic because this area here ends up being, it's over 1,000 stitches because it keeps going up here. And so I switched it to DMC Etoile, which I feel like you still get a nice sparkle, but it's a lot better to stitch with. I'm really enjoying stitching with it. And so I think that for other projects that call for DMC metallic, I might just switch to a similar shade in Etoile because it's just nicer and it lays nicer than the DMC metallic, which there's like metallic here and metallic here, and it's just not as nice to work with. And then I also stitched the blue down here, and this shade of blue almost ends, and then it will switch to like a blend of this color and then another color that comes down here. I am stitching Kita on 28 count fabric that I dyed myself, 2/2 full cross, and I hope that by stitching on her a little bit every day I will get closer to having her finished this year. I plan on stitching the back stitch as I go, so I won't move the hoop until the back stitching is finished in this area, and I'm hoping that this stitching will be done soon. There's not very many full crosses left in this area that's on the hoop. This blue continues down here. There's a little sliver that fills in down here of a different shade, and then there is some more of this like orangey brown shade that will go here, and then that will be all of the full crosses for this section, and then I will just start doing back stitching. So there's Kita. And the next project I will show is one that I only worked on for one day, and it was because my March goal for this project was to work on it for 2 days. I had worked on it one day that you saw last week, and so I worked on it for one more day to get its second day, and that is Heaven on Earth 2, which is charted by Charting Creations, and this is the regular size because there is a large version of this chart. And here is where I got to on this. I ended up filling in more of the sky here that is next to the building, and I'm really liking the way that the sky is turning out. It's kind of not exciting to stitch because there's not a lot of details, but I do like the way that it is stitching up. This is on 28 count, 2/1 tent stitch, which is a half stitch, and I love it. I think this is like kind of like my last little bit of winter stitching though for a while. I don't have any more Christmassy charts coming out until July, so you know, this one is kind of like a winter theme to me, but now it is spring, it is time to move on from winter, so now this can be put away until the next time that it comes out. I do think I have a couple things scheduled to do like some Christmas and July stitching, so there will be a little bit more like winter Christmas stuff then, but that will be later. And the next thing that I will show is one, and I wanted to try and get closer to a page finish on this chart this month, but I don't think it's going to happen because I am already kind of ready to move on from this chart, and that is Mini Masquerade Pale Dawn, which is artwork by Adele Sessler, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And here it is. I wanted to get the first page finished this month because my goal for the year for this piece was to finish 2 pages this year. And so I thought like, oh, if I get 1 page finished now, then I'll have, you know, the whole rest of the year to just do the other page, but I'm already kind of tired of working on it. This chart only has 20 colors, which is nice because you're not having to deal with like a block that's going to have 60 colors. Like, that's impossible to have a block with 60 colors. There's less than 20. But working with the same colors gets kind of boring. Like, oh, it's another shade of gray. That's not exciting. And so I'm kind of ready to move on. I did reach the bottom of the first page here though, so that's the bottom. And then this is the, did I say page 2? I reached the bottom of page 1, and then I reached the side of page 1. So I just need to fill in like this, and then page 1 would be finished, but I don't think that's going to happen right now. I think I'm going to put it away and then maybe pull it back out in June or something. I already have plans for May that this won't work for, and I already have plans for... I kind of have plans for April just to get some things finished. So this probably won't come out again until June, and then maybe I'll try and get the page finished. We will see. This is being stitched on 28 count fabric that I dyed pink, and I am stitching it 2/1 10 stitch. And you can kind of see in this area that, like I've said before, the border on this is not a straight border, so there's going to be fabric that shows when it's finished. So you can kind of see there's some like little swirlies, and then you will see the fabric next to the swirlies, so that will be pretty. The last project that I worked on was Game of Thrones, which is limited edition. It was charted by Tilton Crafts, and it's no longer available anymore. And I was switching this project from full cross to 10 stitch. So when I started this project, it was a few years ago. I don't even remember what year. But I was like, let's do 1/1 full cross, being ambitious. And then it's just really slow stitching 1/1 full cross compared to tent. So I switched it over, and here is how it's looking as I'm switching it. This is on 28 count, and the areas that are tent stitch is right in here is tent stitch. There's some of the colors in his hair were tent stitch, and then this diagonal here is started as tent stitch. So I'm going to try and get close so you can see, and you can't really see any differences. So let me move his hair out of the way. And I am stitching this. I got back to stitching it on the diagonal. I know that I had kind of left the diagonal for a long time because I was stitching Littlefinger's face. Then I started stitching Daenerys's face last year when House of the Dragons came out. But I am back to the diagonal. I do a 20 stitch wide diagonal in Pattern Keeper, and I usually will stitch in the diagonal and I will stitch cross country. So I'll take a color, stitch down. When that color ends, I will pick another color and then just keep doing that through the diagonal. And then I also do like 2-part just everywhere. So there is Game of Thrones. And my plans for next week is I am going to keep stitching on Kita, doing daily 30. Mini Masquerade is probably going to be put away. I do want to keep out Game of Thrones from Tilton Crafts and keep working more on this diagonal. My yearly goal for this piece was to finish 2 diagonals and finish Daenerys's face, because I really want to see her face finished, because it looks a little weird when the faces are just partly finished. It's kind of, yeah. So I would like to work on that more this week. Otherwise, I'm looking over at my laptop here. I'm trying to pick pieces that I haven't worked on yet this year. So possibilities, I might pull out Sailor Moon from Tilton Crafts because she hasn't been worked on yet this year. And my goal for this year is to finish her, so her entire body. So I've started her face, but I need to finish filling in her face. I need to finish filling in her torso, and she doesn't have her legs yet, so she needs legs. And then I also wanted to get her hair done. So there's a lot to do on Sailor Moon. Another possibility is Dear Alice. I'm considering switching Dear Alice from full cross to tent stitch. I started that one on 18 count, and I am stitching it 2/1 full cross. I am thinking about switching to 4/1 tent stitch because, you know, it would be faster, and I just want to see if there's any difference, because 18 count might be more noticeable if you switch, because they are bigger squares than something like a 25 count. So that is a possibility. And then the other thing I would like to bring out is possibly Autumn Harmony. She hasn't been worked on yet this year, and I love Autumn Harmony. She is on 18 count full cross, but I am not thinking about switching her to 10 stitch just because I just love the way she's stitching so much, and there is more of her finished than my other charts that I'm not switching her to 10 stitch. So those are possibilities that I might work on. And then the next thing that I was thinking about doing in this video is kind of like an organize my stuff with me. And that is because I ended last year with 35 projects. I keep all of my projects in project bags, just these ones that you can get like on Amazon, and they're all numbered with the number that the project is on my spreadsheet. So as I finish projects, it empties up a spot and I need to move my WIPs forward a bag and I haven't done that yet. So at the end of last year I had 35 WIPs, and right now I am currently at 30. So the way that that happened is I had 2 finishes. I finished Persona 5, which is here, and I finished the Red Ship of Lesser Commitment. So that got me to 33. I ended up UFOing my two of my long dogs because I only want to work on one long dog at a time, so those need to come off of the shelf out of that spot. And then I also quit working on Sun and Stars by Tilton Crafts, which I did in my last video, I think, and it was because I was not enjoying the way that it was stitching up. So I am now down to 30 WIPs. I need to rearrange them in the bags, and so I think I will take you over to the area where I store all of my WIPs so that we can get them all rearranged. I will need my laptop because that has my spreadsheet that has all the projects and their numbers, so we will go over and we will do that now. And welcome to where I store my WIPs. This is where all my cross-stitch WIPs are stored, and this here is the reason why I am not starting anything right now, and it is because these shelves are pretty much full and I don't want to keep adding more WIPs to these shelves. There's not enough space for more. I don't want to, I thought about like, oh okay, I could get bigger shelves, I could move stuff around to make more room, but I have other hobbies. As you can see, I have a lot of yarn. I would eventually like to use enough yarn to where the yarn is only in one of the little squares, and then I would have another square that I could use for cross stitch or something, but I'm not there yet, so I just need to start limiting what I start for my cross-stitch projects. And then this down here is fabrics and extra flosses and stuff like that. And then over here there is also more fabric that I've gotten in the mail. There's also some charts that are printed. I have things that are finished. I also have some sewing stuff down here because I got a sewing machine last year, and I have some sewing patterns and stuff like that that are stored here. And so there's really not room to just keep expanding the cross-stitch stuff. So I just need to limit what I am doing. And so the way these bags works is I have my spreadsheet with all my projects. All the projects are in order from 1 to 30 because I now have 30 WIPs. At the end of last year I had 35, and each bag is numbered. So, you know, this one here is 22. This one over here is 1, and so they go in order 1 to 30, and so it makes it very easy for me to find a WIP if I need it. I look at my spreadsheet, I'm like, okay, Kita is number 8, pull out bag number 8 because it's just right where it's supposed to be, and it makes it easier to keep track of this many WIPs when they are in number order. I also have this bin here, which this actually has Kita in it right now, her folder. Kita is project number 8, which is down here. And any project that I am working on for the week I put into this bin, and this bin stays over by where I stitch, and so every week I will just swap the projects out so they can be next to me and I don't have to keep coming back here and digging into this. The problem is that because I used to have 35 WIPs and now I'm down to 30, I need to move bags or move projects into new bags. So like I finished WIP, let's see, where's this? This is my list where I had 35. I finished the Red Ship, which used to be in bag 25, so now I need to move everything forward because the Red Ship is gone now, and so now a new project is number 25, which is Fables is now project number 25, so I need to move all my projects into their new bags, which is what I'm going to do very quickly right now. I don't think I'm going to show you the whole thing because it would be a lot of zippering and unzippering, and it would be a very crinkly mess, but I just thought I would show you how I store my projects, and also kind of show you why there will not be new starts for a little bit, because like this side I need to move projects into here, so this looks like I could fit more because a lot of these bags are empty right now because I need to put the projects back in them. But once the projects are in them, they end up being very full. So like this one has all the projects in the project bags and it is shoved full. Like you cannot really get anything else in there. So this looks like you could fit more in, but it still needs the charts and the projects put into them. So I will show you it when it is all finished. And yeah, so I'll be back. Alright, and here I am. My WIPs are all organized now. It's a lot better. You can see now that there's projects in here. This shelf is a lot fuller. It's not as floppy anymore. So yeah, there's definitely not really room for more projects. And I think 30 is plenty. And I do plan on finishing 2 charts hopefully next month. I want to finish the Very Viking Stitch Along and Crystal Palace. And if I finish that, maybe I will stay at 30 WIPs, which would mean that I would have 2 possible new spaces for new starts, but yeah, I think this is good for now. I also pulled out projects to work on for this week. I had already pulled out Kita. Kita is still over by where I stitch. I pulled out Dear Alice in case I decide to stitch that to tent stitch. Switch to tent. I pulled out... I still have Game of Thrones out, which is over by my cross stitch area. And I pulled out Witcher. I saw it when I was going through my WIPs, and I really want to work on him. And I also pulled out Sailor Moon, which is in this bag, so... I'll be back next week though, hopefully with another update on my WIPs, whatever I decide to end up working on. It's nice to have this organized, but I'm also realizing that I really need to do something about this yarn mess. This is a disaster. When I started knitting, I really just started getting yarn a lot, and I buy yarn a lot faster than I knit, as you can see. I have quit buying yarn recently, but I really need to organize all of this because it's a lot. This isn't even yarn. There's also fabric in here for sewing because I didn't know where else to put it. So that is also why I'm buying less, is because I am at a point where I don't know where to put things because there's so much. Anyways, that's a different topic. Thank you everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I will be back hopefully next week with the updates on what's in the bin. So bye.